Welcome to Absolute Comics, the show right here on the Comic Story Podcast Network that airs every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern. I sit down with Sal and we go over the news within the world of comic books and the comic books that we've read. That we do. We do that a lot. Today's episode is brought to you by G Fuel. No codes going on right now, but by the time this airs elsewhere, it's going to be doing BOGO this weekend. Buy one, get one free. And there's a bunch of cool new flavors. I don't know which of them are embargoed. So check back this weekend, because I don't know what I could tell you about. But there's stuff.
You can drink it, presumably.
It's on its way to my house. I don't know if I'm allowed to say what it is.
Sweet.
It's a new flavor. Hey, I'm playing it safe.
Yeah, no, exactly.
So anyway, guys, welcome to the show. Today we're going to be discussing the entire Spider-Man No Way Home trailer hoopla, the leak, the rumors, the suggestions, the whole thing. We're then going to be talking about the Shang-Chi embargo lifted and Rotten Tomato reviews have begun to get posted. It looks like it's got a fresh rating, but that always happens when the movies first came out. We'll talk about it when it's there. Superman is turning gay. Huh?
They've announced that they may be making Jonathan Kent Superboy / Superman gay.
We'll talk about that when we get to that one. Interesting decision, but okay. Black Panther Wakanda Forever has added Dominique Thorne to its cast, the actress who played Ironheart in the MCU. And Chip Zdarsky announced that Daredevil isn't canceled at 36. It's an explosive finale, and it's on pause, which just ties into a lot of my ideas, but we'll talk about that when we get to it. Mm-hmm. There was one more. Venom got pushed back as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Boba Fett's ship now has a official name. Doesn't matter. It's still Slave One. But anyway.
It did have an official name. It's been on all the boxes of the toys that you can buy them on, and whatever. Okay.
So before we get into the news, though, let's talk. Have you read anything you want to talk about, Sal?
That's fresh, like brand new. I read Superman 78, #1. It's better than Batman 89, but it's one of those things where I'm like, I don't know how much longer I'll be reading this book, but I did enjoy what I read. It's fun, it's nostalgic, it's also competently written. It's like it's written to be both homage to that universe of the Donner movies, but also a comic book you can like read and follow. The art is like a little simplistic, but it conveys the emotion that you're going for. And,
right.
And so I appreciate it. I was like, this is a valiant effort, so good for you.
All right. I've read a whole bunch recently. I don't know which of it's current. Like,
right.
That's what I was just trying to pull up. Because I'm pretty sure I was playing catch up on a lot of things that are already, you know what I mean? Like, they're already
totally.
out.
Yeah, like Kang. That there's a new miniseries for Kang the Conqueror that just came out. I like it. But it is, if you look at it, it's just Rick and Morty. And I'm like, oh, this is just Rick and Morty. Oh, no.
Rick and Morty's popular. We got to make that. We got to make that thing popular.
Yeah. But the art's really phenomenal.
I'm looking at my reading list right now, which is none of this came out recently. So, I've just been reading comics.
Right, exactly. Nightwing, great.
I got to read the finale to that. I heard it was good. I did hear it was good.
It's phenomenal. Yeah, it's great.
So... that's pretty much it, though. I mean, I'm getting caught back up. See, what people don't realize is I was just on like a pseudo break for like the last month and a half. I went on an official vacation, and then we came back and decided to redo the entire set, and that's been delayed for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So I've had a very chill August. Like, nothing has gone on.
That's fine, because August is a lousy time for streaming, so might as well.
Yeah, it's a lousy time in general. Like, nothing huge happened in comics in general. Dark Ages has been announced. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, when the hell's that coming?
I don't know, but I played catch up on most of the books that have come out. Robin, I thought the portrayal of Ra's al Ghul as just this like hobo bum on an island was interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know why that was decided.
Right. But we've seen Raish in one form or another. We'll see him get back to basics soon enough. Williamson is a big fan. I know he'll do us right.
Yeah, I'm going to make some camera adjustments here so Dan can be annoyed when he's trying to edit this.
Sure.
But yeah, no, I just been keeping up generally. I've been reading a lot of manga, but that's mostly for research. I got to figure out which books I'm enjoying, which books I'm not liking. I'm noticing just a lot of trends in the manga where they just like to explain their entire title. Like the one that I pulled up today, which I have to research in on and just research. Call Girl in Another World. Like, why is this a whole title? But
Well, it's funny because how old is that book? Because you'll notice that a lot of recent independent comic books and Western comics have begun to do that trend where it's like, we only find them when they're dead. The nice house on the lake. Something is killing the children.
yeah, like, why? Did we just give up naming things?
Now it's just the Thing. Like, the guy who can fly and also bend steel. The dude with the dark, I don't know. The dude who dresses like a bat in a city. The Woman of Wonder from an Island of Women.
Like, look at this one. I didn't buy this one for research at all, but it's recommended. In Another World with My Smartphone, Volume 1.
Just, how about we be creative a little bit?
Okay, this is the worst one. Azure Skill, the guild member with a worthless skill, is actually a legendary assassin.
No.
That
that's
is
not
the
a title.
title.
There's no way. That has to be a description that's just in the wrong place.
Bofuri, I don't want to get hurt, so I'll max out my defense. And then you have more classic ones. Black Summoner. Black Summoner. Like,
That's a title? Okay. The human being who hangs out with aliens and uses a green magic ring to fight other aliens. Like,
we were just talking about that YouTube channel that I found where they do that same thing where they give you descriptors for the movies. We're just moving into an era where we're in
Nothing's
a
titled.
TikTok era where in 5 seconds you need to know exactly what's going on. So they're all like, well, why don't we just name our products exactly what they're about?
Right,
Why
like-
put any effort into it anymore?
no, well, because there's no time. I don't have time for subtlety. I need to just sell it to you. I have 4 seconds before you're gonna scroll or swipe. So I gotta move on. Come on.
Chillin' in Another World with level 2 cheat superpowers.
Ooh, cool.
Volume 1.
the premise, the title. Nailed it. I hate it.
I don't like this trend at all. And I could just keep going. Like, I'm looking for ones with the obnoxiously large names. Because, like, Love Me For Who I Am. Okay. My Darling Next Door. One Piece. Who's heard of One Piece? It's only on volume 97.
Yeah.
This one, like, Skeleton Knight in Another World. Do you think it's supposed to be said that way? Like,
I think so.
You're supposed to read it in that way?
Yeah. Yeah. In another world.
Skeleton Knight in Another World.
Totally.
But I'm going through some of these. I'm enjoying a few of them. I'm not enjoying some of them. I'm going with what everyone's saying is popular. But it actually led me to a quick discussion I wanted to have with you, which I'm going to use to pad out our episode today.
Great.
As a segue here, Sal. There's a segue.
Okay. All right.
So I've and I'm going to do a really in-depth discussion with this with Andy and Dan. So Dan should totally pay attention because this is going to help him when we do this discussion. So a lot of people like to argue manga's killing comic books, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. But whenever someone tells me that, they're always like, yeah, look at Dragon Ball, One Piece, My Hero Academia,
Yeah.
Attack on Titan,
These
Dragon Ball.
35-year-old properties.
Well, no, they're not. A lot of them aren't. Like, Attack on Titan's not that old.
The first 3 you mentioned are like...
Well, yeah, but I'm naming them for a reason because these are the ones that everyone always likes to recommend.
Sure.
In the case of Dragon Ball, it just goes on giant hiatuses till they have plot.
Sure.
Everyone, I noticed. So going through this list of popular ones, which is what I've been doing for our Manga Historian project.
Yes.
Okay, these are the popular ones. I got to see what they are.
Yeah.
They all fall into the category of shonen. Shonen, if you don't know, is generally a storyline about a kid or a teenager or adult who is a nobody and nobody likes to talk to them and they're the worst people on the guild / mech team / superpower group or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You know, look at My Hero Academia. Deku doesn't have any powers at the beginning.
Right.
And the story is basically about this guy's journey to become a overly powered hero by the end of the tale and defeat the ultimate villain with some secret hidden power he didn't know he had.
Right.
Very popular premise. It happens in almost every
Everything.
manga that's considered popular.
Yep.
Okay, and the ones that are always in the popular listings. Like, I can even go into manga right now and just tell you what the biggest sellers over here on Comixology are, because they are those titles in general. People like to say that's killing comic books right now, and that the stories in manga are so much better.
Right.
The trend I'm noticing is the stories in manga, the ones that everyone considers popular, are generally the same premise.
Yep.
And people don't seem to realize that this premise existed in American comic books 60 years ago when these things started.
Yeah.
The story of Spider-Man being a high school kid who's down and out and gets ripped, and that was Spider-Man, and they've done the story.
Yeah. No, the reality is, like, I've not necessarily heard that manga is like the reason why Western comics are doing badly. It's more that, like, how come Western comics can't just do what manga does? Manga outsells them every day, and it's like,
that's the argument I always hear.
Yeah, and it's like, shut up. I'm so sick of hearing it. But here's why. Like, yes, manga outsells Western comics. Also, manga is culturally predisposed to be accepted by an entire society. Like, Japanese society has accepted manga as not something for children that should be derided or made fun of. There is a myriad of categories that you can choose from that appeal to all walks of life, just like Western comics, but it's been normalized in their society, and as a result, they have a leg up in terms of comparison. It's apples and oranges. Manga and Western comics are not the exact same thing, nor do they appeal to the same demographics, nor do their sales match in any way, and it's just like, you can't just apply one to the other. You can't just tell, like, Marvel...
That's the point I'm getting at right now.
Right,
you can't apply one to the other.
Yeah.
Like, there's a number of other reasons why manga can win and whatever, from accessibility to how convoluted. But anyway, I'm sorry. Continue. I'm sorry.
No, like because manga, by and large, manga has a beginning, middle, and end. Except for the ones that don't.
One Piece.
Right, exactly.
Bleach.
Dragon Ball, like everything. I mean, I don't know. It just feels like there's a lot. Everybody always says, "Oh, manga has an ending, so it's better." And it's like there's a ton of manga or anime that have never ended or should have ended long before they did, and so that's not applicable. It's just that, like, Western comics have a stigma socially and culturally, and it requires work to fix that, and that's the problem. If Marvel and DC said, guess what, Batman's ending tomorrow, it's ending, we're gonna manga it, we're going to end Batman, like, literally, like, if we were like, we're not going to do that anymore, we're going to end Batman, and it's going to be this thing, and it's just going to be stopped, and then the next thing will be the next thing, and it's just, like, that's not going to work. It's not like all the manga readers are going to go, oh, look, over there, in this totally different bracket, they're doing something like what I like to read. I'll just jump over there, and the sales will quadruple. Like, there's no reality where that's going to happen. It's just
pretty sure we just lost our stream.
No, we're live.
Rip stream. Oh, we back. Okay. Well, we did go down.
All right.
Well, Dan can cut around this. But no, anyway, you were saying, yes.
Oh,
I agree with you 100%. Just doing what they do in manga, which is the point I'm making.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you agree with. It would not work. You can't just come back, and you could. They tried it. It's the Ultimate Universe. It did very well.
Yeah.
You can't just reset the heroes and do that intro story again.
It kind of did well. Like, it did well until it didn't.
Right, because it went on too long.
Well, it went on too long, or the creative team was, like, just not the right fit. But it did work. Like, that was a successful experiment.
And then they just never ended it. And for those who are in the chat are being like, oh, Bleach did end, Bleach came back. Bleach came back last week.
Yeah, and if it came back, it never ended.
It's not technically like the pickup and the continuation, but it's the pickup and the continuation. So, yeah, for everyone who's sitting there in the chat, because I just watched our chat be like, oh, Benny, Bleach came to an end. You're right. And it's back.
Right.
You know what also ended? Dragon Ball. And it's back.
Right? Yeah.
Like, everyone forget Dragon Ball ended. Z ended. It was over. But now we have Super. So it's Super's a different thing, Sal. So
totally different. Yeah. I'm sure it's not indistinguishable from the other show.
Yeah.
Or book.
No, not at all. No, it's totally not. Now they just have blue hair. I'm bragging, but I am a huge Dragon Ball fan, for the record.
That's fair.
So anyway, moving on to the next topic here. I just thought I wanted to segue into that because I thought I'm glad you picked up on it, because I hear that complaint a lot. Oh, American comics should just be. I would, for the record, I want to say right now, I would kill if they would just have a new writer start Spider-Man's story over.
Right.
And just tell a new story with it. I would. They've done it a couple times with those out of continuity ones.
Yeah.
I've loved it almost every time. I would love if they would just start the story over and start it again. So I think that's part of the reason I'm a big fan of DC, because they do pseudo resets.
Yes. That's
like,
right.
okay, cool. All right, we're starting over. I could jump on here with a new plot, new story.
Yeah.
So Marvel just never ends, which becomes a problem.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I see it. I see the issue, but Marvel also will provide alternatives. You know, like it doesn't always, but it has in the past, and there are methods through which they can achieve both goals. Like you can continue Spider-Man while also ultimizing Spider-Man, or you can make him Spider-Man India or Spider-Man 2099, or or Spidey, that series where it was clearly out of continuity.
And the funniest part about this argument is when Marvel tries to do this,
Yeah.
like when they make Miss Marvel or brand new superheroes, and you start with the hero's journey,
Yeah.
which is what you all want to see. That's what you want. Everyone goes, but I want Spider-Man back. Like,
Yeah.
okay, because I know our YouTube comments are going to make the same comment as the Twitch. Okay, look, we're playing on semantics here on the Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball Z ended. The creator left. They brought in another guy to do GT. GT is panned across the board. We've removed it from continuity because Akira Toriyama, I can't say his name properly. I can just say the creator was like, no, I don't want GT to be the end of my legacy. I'm going to do Super. So technically Super is the continuation of Z. It is the continuation, is my point. Z ended. They tried to continue it because it was a cash cow. That tanked, so they came back. Nobody wants Super Saiyan 3, Red Goku with like hair everywhere like a monkey. No one wants that. We want Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan. Okay? Jeez. Oh, I'm going Ultra Instinct on you. All of you in chat.
That's why I don't watch Dragon Ball Z.
All right. Let's go with the big topic of the day.
Okay.
Spider-Man trailer got leaked, which for the record,
Yeah.
I want to say that was the worst leak I have ever seen.
Someone's life is over for the lamest leak I've ever seen. Like so
on
lame.
a phone with some guy talking over it, and whoever had its name flashing on it constantly.
No, you watermarked it with your real name. What's wrong with you? You've just destroyed your entire career for what? For what?
I like, for the record, I don't care about spoilers. To do this job, you really can't overall. We can try to avoid them, but they're gonna get out. So I saw that, like, all right, well, I'll watch it and see what the deal is. I don't
Right.
care about trailer. I'll just enjoy what I got. And I'm sitting there watching it like, what is even happening? Like,
Yeah.
what is even happening?
Yeah. I did not watch it, but I also waited. You know, it dropped. I waited 24 hours. I got a full HD trailer. I was surprised. I got to see the whole thing without being ruined or spoiled. I knew that there were going to be some appearances only because there were leaked images that had already been pushed in my Twitter feed that I had seen. So I knew about appearances. I don't want to give it away until we say we're doing it, but like,
Well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you're gonna say that because so what happened after that? After this leak happened, and the internet blew up over this leak, which once again, still, it's literally somebody. If you hadn't seen it, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna tell you what happens in the leak. 'Cause
no,
the
I
leak-
did.
don't-
I did watch it after I saw the trailer. I'm like, all right, let's see this leak, and I was like,
Right.
oh, that sucks.
It's not even fully CG'd. It's like an early copy of the leak of the
yeah,
trailer.
yeah,
But it's somebody watching it like this,
yep. Well, filming
and somebody
it, like,
else filming it like this.
Yeah.
So
It's awful. I mean, and listen, like, you know, it's the issue. The takeaway isn't when you're gonna leak the trailer, leak an HD version. You know, like, no, but
if you're gonna ruin your career, do at least make it worth everyone's while.
exactly. And I guess
Because
maybe
like everyone's now like, this guy's a hero because he forced Sony to release the trailer.
right? No, and yeah, no,
I don't think that was the case. I don't think that their hand was forced.
No, well, here's the thing, because like CinemaCon was apparently yesterday or something. Like they were showing the trailer to a board or to some investors or something, and so the trailer was finished and they were going to show it anyway. Like maybe Feige knew it, and that's why he made it the anniversary on Wanda's calendar and WandaVision. Like for all we know, it was always the plan to release it on Monday.
So here's my theory, and I have not mentioned it to you before this.
Okay.
I think all of that was planned. Think about this for a moment. You get the internet to blow up on Monday with a leak.
Yes.
That leak wasn't fully CG'd. It was poorly thing, and you have somebody talking over it. To immediately release the full version the next day, which coincides with the WandaVision date on the calendar.
Right. I don't know. I feel like because there was a real person's name on the leak, that really is like indicative of it being a real leak. I think that the leak of the trailer right before the trailer's release is the result of just an over ambitious, overly excitable fan base that has like demanded more than it should be. Like I think that we as a fandom have reached a point of excess, and it's like you've pushed it too far. Like this person who leaked the trailer, I think they did it legitimately. I think that was a real leak. Yeah, I really do. I suspect it was a legitimate leak, and the person felt like they bought into the fervor and the hype, and they were just like, yeah okay, I got it. And it's like they would be like carried on the shoulders of the internet, and instead it was just like, it's too small. Ugh, it's not finished. I hate this. This person's name on it. Let's tweet about them. Let's tell everybody what their name is. Let's get them fired. Like it just blew up in their face, and then Sony/Marvel was like, I guess we'll just put it out. Like, I guess we'll just put the trailer out. I mean, might as well. Or it was the worst timing in the universe, and it's like, I'm going to leak the trailer the day before the trailer was going to come out.
Well, worst timing. I mean, it could have also been like if it wasn't a planned marketing push to get Spider-Man's name constantly rotating through everyone's lips.
Yeah.
It could also be Sony being like, you know what, screw you. Here's the real trailer. No one's going to talk about your leak past a day.
Yes. Exactly.
Could easily been that. Like, we have it. Do you think your version's better than the full HD CG one?
Yeah, it's a great way to silence that and to just quietly deal with it. I don't know. I just the all of the discussion about the trailer leading up to the leak was so just mind-numbing. Like it was so deafening. Like every pundit, every critic, every personality was just like, when are we going to get this trailer? Like they were owed anything. And I don't know. Yeah. I'm just like every day they're like, when are we going to get a trailer? And I'm like, more like, boy, I'm excited for this movie to come out. Like, because that's what a trailer does. It just gets you hyped for the movie. You're hyped. Here's a genuine theory about this. I think that the only people who were clamoring for a trailer were content creators who were like, it's summer and I need something to speculate about.
Right.
And they just tried to
I mean, I'm not going to lie. We're probably going to make a video a week over it. Absolutely. Marvel and DC speculating on all the stuff in that trailer.
Right.
All right, Sal, here's the 10 seconds we're discussing this week.
Yeah.
What do you think MJ's eating for lunch?
I mean, that's where it is, right? And it's just like, here's the thing. I wasn't part of that. I can solemnly swear that I was not part of the let's get this trailer out there. When are we going to get this trailer? Like I just wasn't part of the conversation, and it's just because I
wasn't because I'm not a fan of trailers.
Well, I like trailers, but I don't care enough to get upset about one, except when it comes to it damaging the culture. Yeah. And in this case, I think that personalities online kind of forced the trailer to exist because they were like, we need content. We need everyone to get really excited and agitated. And it was just, I haven't seen this level of when are we going to do this trailer since Phantom Menace, when they were like, hey, when are we going to find out about Star Wars? And it's like, that's a reason to get excited. It's the first time you're seeing Star Wars in 20 years. Another Spider-Man movie is inevitable. Just stay alive long enough and you'll see another Spider-Man movie.
Just like Batman. We're going to get another Batman movie. Even if this Robert Pattinson one didn't exist, we were going to get another Batman movie.
I got to tell you, I'm hyped for that Batman movie. I forgot there was a trailer. I was
that's true. I forgot.
Right? And then I watched it again and I'm like, yeah, it's still pretty dope. Can't wait. But that's the end of the conversation. I don't know. I mean, the whole thing just makes me sick, honestly.
I do want to. Our chat is going that yes, Zin is Sony. He works for Sony. We know. How do you think he got the trailer? Do you think they just sent it to random people?
No, I think somebody was like, I didn't hear that he got fired. I didn't hear anything. What are you talking about? Where are you getting this information? And I'm like, dude, I'm you, man, with a webcam. I don't know. I don't work there. I get the same friggin' sources that you do. What do you want from me?
So the trailer itself, we both thought was amazing.
Yeah, I dug it.
There's a lot of speculations. We filmed an entire 30-minute video that will be up on Absolutely Marvel and DC probably within the next 3 hours.
And we didn't even touch on everything.
No, we're gonna do more. We're gonna do more videos.
And
we had 30 minutes. I had to start wrapping up the video.
You did. I was like, but there's so much to talk about. But I didn't want to. You're right. It needed to end. It was just we got to stop.
We're gonna spend 3 hours talking about the trailer. Just wait till the movie comes out, guys. 10-hour special with Benny and Sal.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen. But
welcome to our massive watch time.
yeah. Listen, if it blew up, I'd be like, yeah. But like, if people are gonna watch that the same as if we were to pitch a new Superman movie, like then we'll just pitch a Superman movie. Like we'll just create rather than just talk about.
Oh, that's
trailer.
a great idea for that channel. We should do that. We should
Right?
definitely start creating our versions of Superman and Batman. Our own superhero movie. I like it. We're doing that from now on.
Have you seen these people?
That'll be our weekly show.
There's a TikToker who's like, well, I spent the weekend rewriting Age of Ultron, and I'm like, why?
Yeah, I don't get that stuff.
My God.
The only ones I do like I think Nando versus Movies. He makes
Yeah.
a series where it's like one scene change.
I've seen
like
his
that.
videos do that, but that's like there's a whole video of it's just somebody being like, I wrote this thing that you'll never see that like doesn't matter and I can never sell and I don't own and let's talk about what I would have done differently. And I'm like, who
I keep
cares?
seeing tweets for that SpiderMan film, Lotus.
Oh yeah.
And I'm waiting for them to like. I get what they're doing, but they're super hyping themselves up, and I'm like, I hope Disney lets you finish. Like,
Yeah,
you guys seem to be putting a lot of work into this. I'm kind of excited to see it, and I hope you get to finish it.
Right? Seriously, because a lot of time and money and effort went into it.
So I have a big question for you, Sal. Before we move on to the next topic here about Shang-Chi,
Let's hear it. Yeah.
it's evolving as Spider-Man.
Okay.
With all of this happening, how soon do you think that I'm gonna get a Spider-Man Fortnite skin out of this movie?
Has Sony done that? Is there a Venom skin?
Yes.
Okay, then like really soon, probably like by October.
And you get both Venoms. You get Spider on the chest Venom and no Spider on
And
the
movie
chest
Venom? Oh, then I would assume that like by December you'll have a Carnage skin. And
I would assume as well.
yeah. I'd say October you'll get a Spider-Man skin.
Because they did Free Guy too. You can get Dude.
Sweet.
Catchphrase. Let's go to the Venom one then, since you brought that up. Venom got pushed back.
Well, and that's the other thing is Dan mentioned this in our private chat where it's like it's not official, but we're pretty sure that Venom has been pushed back to the Morbius release date. So instead of it coming out, I don't know, November. I don't remember when the hell Venom was supposed to come out anymore.
October, originally September. They pushed it back 3 weeks.
Yep.
Into October. And now it's in theory. The theory
January.
is January 22nd. Yeah.
The end of January.
I think this is still COVID. I think this is still the pandemic. Like Sal and I are going to be doing Absolute Comics live at New York Comic Con on October 7th at 5 p.m.
Yeah.
Room to be announced on our Twitter. But even that, when they asked if we'd do it, I responded with, provided nothing major changes.
Yeah.
I'm just going to cancel if they're like, and New York's on lockdown.
Right.
You know?
And New York, by the way, New York Comic Con, I should mention, because I can imagine people being like, what? How are we responsible? New York Comic Con is going to have, you must provide a vaccine card in order to gain entrance. Not to register, not to buy a ticket, to get in the building.
Or a mask or something like that.
It's both. It's you have to have a vaccine card and you have to wear a mask.
Okay, because I'm my little mandate for my team was going to be keeping their masks on. So
oh sure, yeah,
we're going to the most
gonna
hot
have to.
spot in all of it. So
yeah, no, it's true. So yeah, we're gonna do that. I think that the thing about the Venom push is Sony has gotten into the $1 billion game, and Venom made them $1 billion, so Venom is it. Venom's the hot ticket, right? Into the Spider-Verse got them their Oscar, so they know to make animated movies about Spider-Man, and Venom made them $1 billion, so Venom is their property that they can make $1 billion off of, and they really spent to Let There Be Carnage a big deal. And look, like it shows because Carnage looks spectacular.
Yeah,
I think they're like.
That's also why I don't think we're going to get a Spider-Man crossover until Venom starts not making a lot of money.
Right.
They're going to milk Venom alone as long as they can.
Why not? I mean, or they'll get Miles in there, and they'll have their Spider-Man. But either way, I think that
once again, chat, you're doing semantics. 880 million is pretty close to $1 billion. It's also the highest thing that Sony has made that they own.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that like they're in the game now. The point is that they're playing with the big dogs, as they would imagine.
They beat the Suicide Squad.
Right? Yeah. And that's the thing. The problem is that, Endgame changed the game in terms of, like, everybody's making $1 billion, unless you screw it up. And that's like the new brass ring, but then COVID, and so now the game has changed again, and so now, like, expecting $1 billion is overreaching, but Sony's like, but we just got into the billionaires club, and I want to make $1 billion again, but like COVID is certain to make me not $1 billion at the box office, so I need to just wait. I need to try and, like, play chicken with the Delta variant until such a time as we can make that money, because I'm not going to go back to where we were when we were only making, like, we were making Resident Evil money.
Yeah, no, and for the record, guys, we keep saying $1 billion because it's a lot easier than going over individual amounts for every single movie we're discussing here. $880 million. We made the 800. That's not a club. That's
yeah.
So anyway, I'm actually curious how Fast 9 did, because I don't think any movie out right now has broken even $500,000.
Nope.
And I think that's their concern.
Totally.
So I think by pushing it back to January, they're letting all the Disney movies come out.
Yeah.
All the ones that'll get people back in the seats to be
Eternals,
like, okay.
yeah.
So when one of them breaks this $800 million to $1 billion marker, we know that's going to be a thing.
Exactly. We know we're back. We're back in business. Yeah, absolutely. So I think Sony is just playing chicken with COVID.
Dan's not looking it up like I just said. He's playing with this cat in the waiting room. How much did Fast and the Furious 9 make, Dan? And I hope your cat's doing well. $690 million. So yeah, that's the highest right now, and the Fast and the Furious franchise is considered one of the big blockbusters. So
yeah.
It made family.
Nice.
So yeah, no, I can totally see them just being like, we're just gonna wait for this COVID thing to wrap up, or Delta variant to wrap up, or laws to just go whatever, and they just like, screw you if you don't want to get vaccinated. There's a number of things they're going to do. Yeah. Eventually, like, we're not just gonna be in a perpetual state of masks and vaccines. Things are gonna do something.
They're gonna change in some way, and I feel like they have already. Like, I've always been of the opinion, I've said this 1,000 times, but like, I don't think that movies can sustainably make billions of dollars every year. I don't think there's I just don't think there's enough money in the popular culture for people to go and see and keep seeing these movies. Just like I don't think there's enough money for people to, like, spend on streaming services. Like, I think that there's just only so much in the world, and so at this point they're kind of like, everyone's just trying to get as much as they can until it bursts, and Sony's just like, no, but we just got here.
Yeah. No, I agree. They came in at a weird time.
Yeah.
And just to clarify, I don't think the pandemic's ever going to go away. I said things are going to change. There's going to get a point where COVID should be treated like the flu, in the manner of, like, here's your yearly vaccine.
Yeah, here's your vaccine.
It's going to be that.
Exactly.
And whether or not it's going to be mandatory, whether or not, we're not here to talk about the politics of the vaccine, anti-vaccine, and all that other stuff. So
Nope. I won't address it.
Yep.
So
it sounds like if you bring it up, we're ending this. I'll
just sit and stare at you. I just won't say anything.
Like I want Dan to do.
Right?
Okay, so the next thing on our list here is the Shang-Chi review embargo hasn't lifted, and it's getting a fresh rating of 93%.
Cool.
I mean, that's cool. Until it goes out to the public, there's not going to be really any way to know about it. It's kind of whatever.
I saw somebody give a review, like a one kind of sentence review, where they said something like, the first half is, like, really cool, and then the last third, it just turns into a Marvel movie.
You saw that DJ Woodrow review.
Woodridge review, yeah. And I trust that review. Like, I feel like that's,
I do too.
Yeah, and I'm kind of like, the question is, well, what kind of like, do you mean like it's gonna look like Black Panther at the end, where, like, the CG is really, really bad, or do you mean like it's gonna be like Iron Man 2, where, it's just kind of lame, but it's still, like, satisfying?
I mean, who knows? I'm not surprised by this review, though. Every MCU movie comes out with
like a 90. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it just gets altered as it's going.
Except for the one that I remember, Benny, because I have a vested interest in talking about which movies did not make 90% in Rotten Tomatoes, and here I am in the comments, because I'm in every comic book live show, just being sure to keep you both honest.
Thank you, Sal.
No problem.
You can tell our chat is being very livid today on our live show, because if you go watch this over at twitch.tv/comicstorian on Tuesdays at 5 p.m. Eastern, you too can tell us what we're wrong about. Anyway. All right, so next up, I feel like First off, this is tied into the whole Comicsgate guy who leads the entire thing, making this and announcing that it's going to be a thing.
This shouldn't even be on the list, and I'll tell you why. It came from a source that is not a news source.
Right.
Right off the bat, I'm like, no.
Right.
It's
don't
not
worry,
a
Dan,
news
this isn't a
website.
stab at you.
No,
don't
no.
worry about it.
I'm just saying, like, you know what? Like, the name of their website is deliberately deceptive, but it's not a real news source. It's a blog that's someone's opinion.
All I want to say about it, since I did mention
please.
it, because I read through the topics initially, and so people who are watching this are going to be like, oh, what about that? Let's assume for a moment that Tom Taylor is going to give Jonathan Kent a boyfriend.
Right.
The argument I have with this is the exact same argument I have with the Tim Drake thing. Mm-hmm. I don't care. Because you know what? There's like 2 relationships in comics that have ever mattered and been implemented into the storyline, and that was Spider-Man and Superman.
Right.
And I can't think of another relationship in comic books. And I know everyone in the chat in the comments is
Maybe
gonna be like
maybe the Fantastic Four, but only because like it's so ingrained, like they're a family. Like it's not really you don't read Fantastic Four to see the relationship between Sue and Reed. You watch it, you're reading it to see the dynamic of the whole family.
Exactly.
But yes, like the relationships that anybody had a vested interest in, like even Batman, one of the biggest superheroes of all time, like you know, the biggest thing about his relationship was Catwoman from a few years ago.
Yeah.
That's it.
So this is not confirmed by anything. It's a rumor picked up by a website that is intentional to get into the SEO, which makes it pop up into our news feeds once in a while.
Yep.
If it happens, I don't care at all,
right,
unless Tom Taylor turns the book into a gay porno, in which case I think we have a far larger issue than Jonathan Kent going gay. If he gets a boyfriend that he occasionally sees, whatever, nobody makes the relationship the story.
No.
Because at the end of the day, no one's reading Superman and Batman for their slice of life story. I would read that, but that is not the genuine populace. So.
No, it's not. It's not.
I would love to read a story that's all about Superman and Batman on their day off, just getting coffee.
Right.
Like,
yeah. Oh yeah. No, that's a must buy for me. Honestly.
Yeah. The entire issue is just them talking about what they do in their spare time.
That'd be so
Bruce,
cool, actually.
Did you go to that movie you were talking about? Oh, no. Selena, she was being a real bitch about it, Clark. You know that?
Yeah. She's not here, is she?
Yeah, no, you get the Key and Peele skit?
Yeah.
She's being a real...
Into space.
Bitch. Hold on, I'm bugged. Oh, no.
You said that?
Did you say bitch to Selena?
Hell yeah, I did. But yeah, no, this whole idea...
I honestly, I think it's one of 2 things.
Yeah.
Either it's that side of the comic book content creators trying to feed the hate machine because of the Tim Drake announcement.
Yep.
Which is possible.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, it's so that would be so shrewd and diabolical to be like, man, Tim Drake has like no clout and he was trending on Twitter.
Yeah.
If I make up something about Jonathan Kent being gay, that'll be like triple the SEO.
Right, and we know that these sources like to do that kind of a thing, because while they have been right about some things, a lot of things they haven't been. It's just speculation. But if it does actually happen, this is an official leak that this individual has right off the bat. Like I said, unless they turn it into a gay porno comic, I don't care. Like
right,
Jonathan
doesn't really
Kent,
affect anything.
Jonathan, of all characters too, Jonathan Kent doesn't even have a girlfriend right now. Like,
well, like for me, like Jonathan Kent, like
at least with Tim, we at least had the question of what happened to Stephanie. Like,
yeah, what happened to Ariana? Like, what happened to he's had at least 3 different relationships with women to make it go like that's a little weird.
John was 11 and now he's 16. Like, nothing's happened.
The thing about John is it's just one of those things where like John shouldn't even be here, man. Like, we shouldn't even be answering this question for John. Like,
John should still be 11,
right?
Learning how to be a superhero.
Yeah. Why are we talking about John's sexuality? John shouldn't even be sexual. He should be 11 years old. Like, what are we doing? Like,
we're already in a bad spot with Superboy.
Right. Like, and that's why I'm kind of like, let's not weigh in on John's sexuality right now because we haven't even gotten to the point where we need to retcon this. Like, because that's the priority, ladies and gentlemen. It isn't what we're gonna do with John next. It's how we're gonna fix what was ruined about this character. Like, You haven't even, because you're never gonna be like, it's the thing about the comic book industry that like these people who write and create comic books never think about, because they're only thinking about their bottom line, Substack, is that they
I like the slipping.
I don't know what you're talking about, but they only think they're just Ian Malcolming all over the place. They're just like they're just so preoccupied with whether they could, they never stop and think if they should. They never think about the ramifications of their actions, so they just make these big decisions.
Like aging the Super Sons up.
Like aging the Super, just one. It's like, if you're gonna age them both up, at least then you can do something with that. But like,
you killed probably one of the best team ups in like the last 20 years. I'll be bold enough to say that. Superboy and Robin together early on was amazing.
You didn't just kill a decent book or a fun relationship or a decent pairing or a fun comic book. You killed the thing you're chasing, because Super Sons was and could have become a great gateway book for that coveted young new reader demographic that you seem to think you are getting every time that you make some new thing that nobody buys and then go, nobody wants this. I don't know. It's just like Super Sons was one of those things where it's like, oh, it's two children who are superheroes who are in continuity, part of the main story. That, if you can sell that.
It was the shonen story with characters people wanted to see grow and gain power. And it was the story that everyone likes to read in manga in US comics, and it was working.
Right. Well, and you were going to achieve success from both ends, where it's like the hardcore comic book mainstream continuity readers were on board and endorsed it.
Yeah.
And new readers could jump into it, and they could both meet in the middle and go, we both like this thing, let's elevate it. And then one person came in and said, like, let's change everything. And I promise you, it wasn't for malicious reasons. It wasn't because they hated that. It wasn't because they wanted to, like, see what they could do. It was just because they had their own opinion, they had their own idea, and they didn't think about all the other things. But that's why you need editors. That's why you need editors in chief. And like, DC doesn't have them. I was just looking at a book the other day, a high profile book. They used the wrong tense for two. And I'm like, spell check is not an editor. Like, you need a human being to read these books and like look over them, or you need an editor who's like a goalie for these things to just devil's advocate. Like, I'm not asking for someone to deliberately stand in the way of progress or change, but I am asking someone to just step in who's been there, who knows the business, and go, why are you doing that? Like, if you can convince them, all the better. But then it's earned, or even not even earned, because I don't want to suggest that like creators need to earn their way. They got there. They earned it through whatever method, either through like the climbing the ladder or through other success in other arenas. But regardless, you've legitimized it, and you've made it better because you've tempered it through conflict. Yeah. Because conflict always breeds a better success for creativity. Anyway, that's my 2 cents on Super Sons.
No, I mean, you're not wrong. It's interesting because, I don't know, Dan didn't put it on there because it probably happened, I think, 2 weeks ago, and we took last week off because I was dealing with Marvel's Avengers, which we'll talk about in a minute.
Sure.
But didn't Jim Lee come out and say, like, they have a new editor-in-chief now?
Yeah.
They're cleaning up a lot of things. I don't think DC's gone in a bad direction.
No.
What I think has happened with DC is they need someone at the helm. And right now that is Joshua Williamson, but I don't feel like his Infinite Frontier idea started that way. I think he's doing an amazing job of turning it into that. It's the direction we're going, but the fact that it was just so weirdly promoted and planned, and Future State was half 5G and half not.
That's the thing.
They're just in a weird spot in general.
And Josh needs more clout. Like, it's, you know, Hickman is not like an editor at Marvel. I mean, right now he's not anything at Marvel, but like, he's not an editor at Marvel. And so while he was kind of shepherding the X-Men line, if any editor, like Trial of Magneto was supposed to be like a sub-story in one of the X-Men titles, and now is an event, and probably shouldn't be because an editor told them it had to be an event.
Right.
Hickman could have said, no, it's not an event. But like, at the end of the day, you're a for-contract writer. You're not an editor. You're not in charge of anything. So, you know, the only reason why Hickman was allowed to direct the line was because of his previous experience and the audience's reception. But at the end of the day, a leader or a person who's executively in charge can kibosh that. Josh is not an editor, and so like he can have this like this plan, but like he needs not just friends in higher places to help facilitate it, but he needs to be able to have the clout to say, this is the way it's going to be. And like you can tell that there are people at DC and at every company, but like DC and Marvel, who either don't want to do that or aren't interested in doing that or don't want to play the game or don't care. And you need them either on board or out of the way. And you need, as a leader, to be able to say, I know you're going to resist this, and I'm going to have to ask you to get the hell out of the way. And like have the ability to do that. Josh is a writer. He's not going to be able to say to like fellow writers, he's relying on his good faith, his friendships, and his colleagues to say like, we're going to help you make this thing happen. And that's really sweet and it's great. But like at the end of the day, he's not like signing checks and he's not like on the editor's slip that says you need to do this.
Right.
So it may be Josh's vision, and I hope it is. But Josh's vision can be corrupted at any point by like an overzealous editor who's like, hey, I was watching, something. I was watching Game of Thrones the other day, and I feel like, why isn't DC like Game of Thrones? And it just literally, it could be that messed up where someone just steps in and goes like, change the entire ending. Like literally just change the whole direction. Like make Wonder Woman a Bat character. Make her part of the Bat family.
They did that. It's Batman Urban Legends 6.
Yeah.
She's in the Bat family. She's doing Bat Fit. Like, why is that story even in there?
I don't know. I don't know.
She's not even in Gotham, I don't think. It's just like, we got a spare Wonder Woman story. Put it in that Batman anthology.
Yeah. So, it's just, I don't know. It's a fascinating industry, and I'm constantly impressed with where it can go and what it can achieve. I just want common sense, and I know that that's not like achievable all the time.
we're in a weird spot. I mean, common sense is my entire argument on rant the other day about how convoluted Marvel makes things to find.
Yeah.
We're in a day and age where people want to have a 5-second title that tells you the entire premise to their comic or their manga that you can read in one straight line.
Yep.
And Marvel's over there like, so did you read all 12 X-Men books? Well, you're going to be lost at Trial of Magneto because we're not even going to tell you where it fits.
Oh, yeah. Well, with the X-Men thing, that's like a whole other beast. Like it is, if you're reading X-Men, you're reading X-Men, and if you're not reading X-Men, maybe you're just reading Wolverine. But I hear what you're saying, and Marvel is culpable for a lot of mismanagement and not making their books available or lined up. Like, if you want to tout your shared universe and you want to make that thing a cohesive thing that everybody can jump on board with, and you want to sell these damn things to everybody, you got to make it indispensable, and you got to make the barrier to entry as thin as possible. At the end of the day, that's the real key to all of it. To selling comics, it's just you got to make it easy as hell. You got to make it so it's like, so people are talking about, you got a couple of comic book fans or maybe would-be comic book fans talking about comic books, and they're like, dude, you got to read this new issue of whatever. Like, you got to read Defenders. And they're like, oh, dude, I stole that online and I read it the other day, or I maybe I'll download that later, and have the person go, for real? Like, how easy it is to get that book? Like, why would you even bother? Like, you need that level of ease and comfort and convenience where it's like, it's only going to be preferable to read it by buying it and to read all of it. Like, dude, if you like this, you're going to have to read Guardians, or you're going to have to read this or that, the other thing. Like, there's an event going on right now in Guardians. It's got a title and everything. I couldn't for the life of me name it, but like, it's happening.
I haven't been reading the new Guardians run. Is it Warren Ellis or Garth?
Yeah, no, it's Al Ewing. But like,
Al Ewing, I know it's one of the older guys that's been around.
Yeah. Well, not that long, but he's doing okay. not as long as the other two you mentioned.
I mean, he's doing Immortal Hulk, and that's been amazing, and now constantly getting delayed.
But he's done. Like, that's one more issue, and he's out. Yeah. So, and then he's taking over for something else. I don't remember what he's doing.
I thought Thor. I thought he was trading with Cates.
Oh, that's right. He's trading with Case.
Yeah.
Cool.
He's going to Thor, and then Cates is coming over here.
Yeah.
So.
But anyway.
Last Annihilation.
Thank you. Yeah.
Chat's got. Sometimes we want you to help us. Sometimes we want you to go away. Sometimes I like talking to myself. I mean.
Exactly.
All right. Well, that's that. That's our opinion on the entire situation.
Sure.
It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. And I don't know why it bothers some people so much. I really don't. But whatever. That's an entire different discussion. That's nothing to have here. So. Next up, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever has added in Dominique Thorne to its cast. She'll be playing Ironheart. Kevin Feige has confirmed this will be her debut leading into her Disney Plus series.
Yep. Cool.
I feel like so I do have an idea with this one.
Okay.
The retconning her.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like what this is supposed to be is instead of making her inspired by a dead Tony, that will still be there for her suit purposes, but she's going to be more intrinsically linked to Wakanda and the Black Panther world.
Oh, there's no way that she doesn't go to that school they built at the end of Black Panther in Oakland.
Oh, yeah, I forgot they did that.
Right? Like, yeah, she's a beneficiary from that school, and she's like a rising star. Maybe she got the Shuri scholarship or something. I don't know.
Right.
But, yeah, no. And actually, it makes perfect sense. Like, it's such a good idea to just throw out the Iron Man thing. Like, she is Ironheart in name only.
Yeah.
But she models it after, like, Wakandan technology. Like, she's doing it because she's homaging Black Panther instead of Tony Stark. Such a good idea. Better idea.
I like it better. Also, it prevents them from having to drum up old members of the Tony Stark family.
Oh, and
or
remind people of
explaining
Spider-Man.
Morgan, where Morgan went, or getting back in Gwyneth Paltrow. You don't see any of them. You just...
Nope.
The Wakandan people, they're all still on payroll. They're locked in for like 5 more movies. We just pull them in.
That's the thing. You could bring in Shuri. You could bring in any of the Dora Milaje. Like, you got a lot of options there, and people love them. Like, people want to see them in more things, so it works fine. Like,
there's no backstory or world building really built up around Gwyneth Paltrow and Morgan since the end of Iron Man. Like, Iron Man 3 was about as much as we got, and they showed up for Infinity War and Endgame, but like they weren't prominent. They were just there.
No, and we're good. I think like maybe the last time we ever see Happy will be in this new Spider-Man movie, but like let him move on. Like, it's fine.
I mean, the trailer looks like he's gonna blow up. So
yeah,
poor Happy.
I hope not.
Maybe he'll be the driving force. Like, you killed Happy.
That would suck.
That they killed Happy, or they used that as like his, because we never had the Uncle Ben moment. So what if they had the,
that would both be
Happy!
Terrible. I don't like either of those ideas. Hey, Chip Zdarsky announced that Daredevil isn't canceled after number 36 with an explosive final issue. Says that the series is on pause because there will be events in upcoming issues that, quote, kind of spiral out of control. Will this mean that in issue 37 or an all-new issue number 1? We have no idea, but the story will be continuing, especially since issue number 38 will be the Daredevil Legacy, number 650. And you know how comic books love their numbers with that in 0 or 5.
Yeah, I still think this is more PR speak. I think I've said this before. I've had many arguments with many people. I think right now, every writer or artist or anybody who's leaving for Substack doesn't want to burn bridges. And the last thing that Marvel wants is all of our writers are leaving and they're all going to come back, but it'll be in a year if they don't get paid again. I don't think they want that in the headline. So I think what like Hickman and Chip Zdarsky and all them are doing is, hey guys, I'm not leaving Marvel, but I'm going to take a little bit of a break and a hiatus. So there might be like a 6-month gap while my current story arc ends and I go work on this and then I come back.
Yeah. Daredevil has sold pretty good since it started. Yeah. With the notable exception of there being like a spike thanks to actually King in Black and the Elektra reveal. So Daredevil has always been like a mid-tier book that was always kind of in danger of being canceled just because Marvel's like, oh, a good thing that like enough people are enjoying, but not like everyone, canceled. So letting it go away under Chip's guidance or his decision or his volition is a great idea because it allows it to end on his terms, and the audience is okay with it, and they won't. And because he's already getting ahead of the narrative, it allows for the audience to go like, "Oh, when the book comes back, I don't have to think about whether I'm going to get it. I'm just going to get it."
Right?
Because like if they cancel Daredevil after this arc, when they announce Daredevil again, you're assuming it's a new creative team, and even if it's Al Ewing doing Daredevil, it's still going to be like, oh, do I want to try Daredevil again? The book keeps getting canceled, So this is a good idea. It's a brilliant scheme. You touched on something that actually is really interesting because it just occurred to me how these creators who went to Substack are clearly trying to leave the door open, or if they're closing a door, they're opening a window to the big two because they all got a big payout at the start, and the Substack model will pay them on a monthly basis, but who's to say that that'll sustain anybody for a year?
Yeah.
But on the flip side of that, Marvel and DC are losing some of their biggest creators
James Tynion, Hickman's going over there for.
Yep.
And other than James Tynion, they're all like, I'm not leaving. I just have to go work over here for a little while, and I'm going to come right back. James Tynion's like, I am burning. I'm done. This is my life now.
Yeah. I'm writing newsletters and comic books. I mean, dude, he's fine because, like, the last several independent books that he made are TV shows.
Oh yeah, no, he's doing fine. I'm not saying his decision is a poor one. I'm just saying everyone else is leaving the door open.
Oh, totally. Yeah. But I think that Marvel and DC are also trying to keep it like copacetic, because the last thing that they want is to indirectly promote these people the way that the Image Revolution started. Like when Todd and Jim and everybody left, they were like, we're leaving, and they made Image, and it was like this big revolution, and they made these crazy books that everybody was buying, and they took all their audiences with them, and they edged out DC and like as one of like the top 3 publishers. And so it's like and their sales were astronomical, and the money just flowed. They just all the money. But like Marvel and DC don't want that again. And I know that at least Stegman wants that again. Like, he wants this to be the Image Revolution again, where it's like they're going to create their own studios, like Extreme and Wildstorm, where it's like, oh, like Hickman's going to be in charge of a whole team, and I got all this seed money to make this whole like group. And I wouldn't be surprised if, if it is successful and if they can pull in enough on a monthly basis or a yearly basis, they can pay each other, that those books, which they have the right to take to Dark Horse, Image, Boom, anybody, that they don't go to anybody, that they go internally, or that maybe they create a third party, that they all get published under. And the last thing that Marvel and DC want to do is remind people of that, or normalize that kind of thing, where they're like, these people are leaving, and if you want their stuff, you're gonna have to follow them. No. Yeah. It's like everyone's going, no. They're getting their, they're sowing their wild oats, but they'll be back to tell Thor stories again. Don't worry.
I feel like it's that middle ground. Like nobody wants to burn the bridge with the big two. They don't want to leave. They don't want to leave on bad terms and be like, everything. Well, you don't want to burn the bridges with your fans. You don't want to burn the bridges with the companies. You just you want to progressively go over there, just like, I'm just gonna do a little bit over here, and I'll come back in a little bit. But the same thing he said, Marvel also doesn't want to be like, you need us to survive, because you don't really need them anymore. If you could really make it work elsewhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
Every other day we get news reports of like, this writer only got $5,000 for the $1 billion Winter Soldier project.
Yeah.
You don't need to remind them how poorly you're paying them and keeping them under lock and key and shackles.
No, and they also don't need to glorify them to the point where it's like, we can't replace you. Like, you're irreplaceable. Like, no. Marvel and DC just need to be like, okay, Zeb Wells is going to write Spider-Man, and it's going to sell just as well as if Nick Spencer were writing it.
Uh-huh. I mean, everyone freaked out about Tom King's Batman, but it didn't dip that much.
Nor did it like revolutionize sales, though. It wasn't like Tom King changed the game with Batman. Just
Batman like Superman Bendis didn't blow up.
No, in fact, Superman Bendis was like the harbinger of all of this, I think, because it was like, the big name doesn't automatically equate to sales.
Yeah.
What do we do now?
So, I don't know. It's interesting. I've said this before in the multitude of these arguments. Everything right now is generally a theory as to what's going on with these creators.
Totally.
They're all doing the kind of give you half truths, half stories on the whole thing right now, where they're like, yeah, we're coming back, but nobody's giving dates.
No.
Someone in our chat said apparently there will be a Daredevil announcement related to it August 31st. Will
Cool.
that be Chip Zdarsky's continuation?
Well, here's the thing.
Will that be the event? Who knows?
With respect to Chip is giving away all the monthly income that he would be pulling in from Substack to charity for the year. So he's not planning, I think, on Substack being a main source of income. He got a big check, and he's like, I'm going to use this big check to pay me, and I'm going to provide you with whatever it is that you need here on Substack. But also, Chip does what he wants. Like, if it all imploded, if the comic book industry collapsed tomorrow, he'd still be employed because he has other skills that he can apply to other things. That's why Jim Zub doesn't care because he's like, I'm paid by Wizards of the Coast. Like I write the comics I like and I want to. Like I'm doing Conan, and as long as they publish Conan, I'm writing it because I love Conan. And it's like, yeah, right. And he doesn't have to scrape or beg or borrow or steal for anything. He just does what he wants. Same as Chip. And Chip's one of those things where it's like, if he were leaving forever or he thought that Daredevil was canceled, like he'd just say, yeah, no, it's over. Like he doesn't have any vested need to lie because he's the one who quit Spider-Man. He was writing Peter Parker. It was selling really well. I'll bet if you put it neck and neck with Nick Spencer, the sales weren't too dissimilar. And he was like, and they were like, oh, keep doing it. And he's like, nah, I'm good. Like I'm out of story. I'm done. Like who walks away from Spider-Man? And it's like a person who doesn't need it.
Exactly. He's also still a teacher at the school that he's at.
Zub, yeah.
Yeah, he still does like classes.
Right, like he's like, I have health insurance through like a school.
He's like
I write Rick and Morty
shit.
Yeah, I don't need Marvel or DC. I mean, listen, I like it. Like, and I'm not telling tales out of school. I'm not saying like he's bad mouthing anybody. I'm just saying like he's one of the rare creators like those two characters who are like they've no need to lie. They have no, if they tell you, we're doing one thing or we're doing another thing, like there's really no reason for them to tell you any half truths, because they don't need to. There's no problem. So,
right.
It's exciting. But I love his Daredevil and I don't want it to go away. So, we'll see what happens.
Right. No, but I do want to just clarify the whole thing. A lot of what Sal and I are saying about the Substack thing is just theories on the whole thing.
Yeah.
No one knows what's happening going forward. I would love no one to leave and everything to stay the way it is, but there's a lot of names who are like, I'm out.
Right.
So I'm not.
Well, I'm taking the money.
It's a lot of people using that same thing of like, I'm not leaving, but I'll be busy for a little while.
Exactly.
So
well, they paid me a lot of money to tell you that Substack is a thing you should subscribe to. I mean, why would I not do that?
As I said, the only one who straight up said he's just doing Substack is James
Tynan. Yeah,
and Tynan's already got the shows and his other. He's set. He's fine.
Yeah, he's got he's got a connection with DC still, where the Nice House on the Lake is still a DC book. So even though he left like Batman, he could get Black Label books. He could just go. He could do Detective again. Like there's no bad blood in this industry right now for this, except for probably creators who were not called about the Substack.
I was about to say, because Tevye mentioned Dan Slott and Bendis. We haven't heard anything about a Substack from either of those two.
They didn't get a call.
What is Dan Slott doing now? Is he still on Iron Man?
Fantastic Four.
Oh, Fantastic Four. Okay. Who's on Iron Man?
Cantwell.
Okay.
It's good.
It had a rocky start, but I'm liking it.
Yes, it did. But it's still, it's fine.
So, all right. Well, I think that's pretty much everything we got here.
I think so, right? Did we forget
Boba
anything?
Fett's ship now is named Fire Spray.
Sure.
Because after, what is it, 30 years?
More? Like, whenever Empire came out. So, 1980. 40 years, 42 years.
40 years. So, after 40 years, the name Slave One, which I don't think is ever often referenced at all.
It's not referenced in the movies at all. I don't think they ever mention it on screen.
But apparently it is now a problem, so we're renaming it to Fire Spray.
Yeah, Fire Spray.
I would have preferred Boba Fett's ship.
Right. Yeah, right? I don't. If it were 20 years ago, I might have been like, this is outrageous. Now it's like, who cares?
Yeah, like, I'm still going to call it Slave One. Everyone I know is going to call it Slave One. That's like, whatever.
Yeah, like, this is one of those things where I think, a company is underestimating the staggering power of a audience that plants its feet. When it comes to Star Wars, I don't know. People are, Star Wars fans are funny.
Chad is telling us that apparently Fire Spray is the class of ship.
Oh.
So it was always technically a fire spray.
That's genius.
But now in the comic book event, War of the Bounty Hunters, they are referencing it as a fire spray. So
that's funny because that sounded familiar, and that was just like maybe just a latent memory from when I was a kid. Because I knew a lot of stuff about Boba Fett before it became all irrelevant.
Yeah.
He's
back, man. He met Din.
You mean the Mandalorian? Oh, yeah. He's great. You know, I hate Timur Morrison, but I like that show, and I like what he did with him. I like his whole turtleneck look. It's fun.
Yeah.
I'll watch that book of Boba Fett, I'll tell you that.
That'll
wait.
probably be the first. I'm waiting just after all the times that we've said it doesn't matter. They haven't said any of the names in the movies. He's just gonna be like, we should totally go to the fire spray. Just to
No way. He's not going to say that. There's no way. Okay, so here's what's going to happen, right? He's going to he's going to be like, let's get to the fire spray. And don't forget about the fire spray. And then, like, they're going to make a Hallmark Christmas ornament of the fire spray. And then nerds are going to cross out fire spray and write Slave One and, like, put them back on the shelf, or, you know, make viral videos of them being like, time for me to drive Slave One around. I don't know.
Oh.
Whatever. I don't like it in terms of spirit. You know, it's like, don't change things because you think you're doing, like, Disney, you're not a person. You're not doing anybody a favor by changing the name of a fake spaceship for a fake character in a fake universe.
They've been changing a lot of things lately, though. Cutting out portions of movies, getting rid of movies.
It's so gross and stupid. Like, it's so stupid. You know, like, I get Disney, like, curating a park so that it can, like, seem perfect, because that makes you a lot of money. You know, but it doesn't apply to everything. And if you're in the business of making films, you are, for better or worse, making art. And when you try to change it to satisfy some hidden narrative or some, you know, perceived desire to make things better, like, for whom? From what perspective? You're a company. You don't actually have, like, an opinion about anything. You don't have like a stance. So to sanitize, to edit, to censure, it just makes you the bad guy. Whether it's removing sensitive things or changing names that are seemingly, you know, insensitive. Some say that there are a lot of racial stereotype characters in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Should we replace them because we perceive that? Like, I don't know why Slave One is called Slave One, but I'm pretty sure it's not because it's about American slavery.
I agree.
Right? I'm sure it's probably because there's a slave drive in programming. You know, who knows why they called it that, but I promise you it isn't that. But it's not your responsibility, Disney, to change it, to guess why it was called that, and to try and, like, get ahead of, like, the future's reaction and being like, I can't believe they didn't change that. Like,
see, what irritates me about these changes, okay? If something was done in a movie 20, 30, 40 years ago, it was okay then, it's okay now.
Yeah.
Because I agree with you on the whole corporate, they're a corporation, they're not an individual person.
Right.
They're not changing things like Slave One. It's like exactly what you just said. They're not changing it for the sake of, oh, well, we know that it's wrong and we're going to change it. They're changing it now so that when they use it in the book of Boba Fett, people don't make a Twitter fucking hashtag.
Yeah, exactly.
And try to cancel it.
Yeah.
They're getting ahead of that. That's all they're doing. But anyway,
Exactly.
this has been a weird episode of Absolute Comics, but I hope you guys enjoyed. My name is Benny. That is Sal. Check me out at Comic Story and check him out at Comic Pop. And go check out our sponsor, G Fuel. Use the code COMICS at checkout. And that's today's episode. I hope we didn't offend.